Okay guys, welcome back. This is your old pal Hondo doing another quick video. Now if you've been like your old pal Hondo and you bought a new Echo string trimmer and within a year it starts to bog down and you think it's something more drastic than it really is, it really isn't. You think it's your carburetor messing up on you, and you've been using good gas like, you know, Liberty gas, the stuff with no ethanol in it, and you're still getting your machine bogging down. It might be one of two things that you're having issues with. One not so major thing really, but we're going to go over some of the things that we were going to look at before you go and drastically taking apart the carburetor, which this was the fix that I did and it works for me now. That it keeps the my machine from bogging down. And it's a very simple fix. Depends on which state you live in. You may not want to do this because there's strict laws in certain states from doing this little hack to your Echo string trimmers or your Husqvarna string trimmers or even your steel string trimmers. If you live in one of those communistic states that don't allow this type of thing, I would not recommend to do this. I don't live in one of those states, but also too, this could void your warranty, so keep that in mind when you take the machine back. Make sure you put this back on your machine. Okay guys, the first thing that we're going to go look at is if your machine's bogging down. You might have been using some ethanol, which I never used any ethanol in my Echo string trimmer, and I've did a review on this one before. I've been using straight Liberty non-ethanol 80 something gas, whatever it's called. You may want to check the spark plug. You know, if it's skunked up, sometimes, you know, it's not getting enough spark to fire the piston. You can check it, pull it out, you know, pull this, like, twist this knob off. Take a scrunch tool that comes with these, or you could buy one that's for the size of this spark plug. Pull it out, look at it. If it's skunked up, you can replace it. Check your air filter. If your air filter is clunked up and bad looking, go get a rebuild kit over at your local Echo steel dealership and replace that with the spark plug. If that's not working, it could be the carburetor. You may want to take the carburetor out and clean it with some brake cleaner or carburetor cleaner. But the main thing that I think a lot of y'all are having issues with, if you're not using ethanol gas, is the fuel mixture. I've been using the Red Armor fuel mixture in this for a year, and I think it's way too rich. But under warranty, if you got this machine under warranty, I would recommend using it, but I hate it because it is causing this issue with my string trimmer, which is a spark arrestor. If all else fails, right here on your machine, you can take off, I already did this, but you can take off this plastic cover, you know, basically cover guard. You need a T25, a Phillips head or a flathead screwdriver. It's a Torx bit. You know, you need that Torx bit in order to get this off. You know, there's one here on the side here, and there's one here, and one right here. You got to take this cover off and the spark plug cover off to get this off, because, you know, this kind of sticks on here. Once you remove the cover, you can turn the machine on its side right here. There's use that same Torx bit right here, here, and here. There's 3 spots on the muffler here. I don't know if you can see it, but right there you can tell usually if it's black carbon on the muffler, that means the spark arrestor screen gets gunked out, and I can tell it's already black. But I think it's the Echo fuel mixture that I use for this. It's way too thick or something. I don't know. I don't have that with the Husqvarna fuel mix that I use with this. It doesn't do that. But like I said, my buddy uses Husqvarna fuel mix with his all the time, and it doesn't bother his shit. That's just a, you know, way for them to get basically your money, to keep buying their stuff under warranty, basically their fuel mixture. But you take that off with the Torx screwdriver right here. It has 3 screws. You pull it off, and then once you remove that, you get a little screen that you pull off. Now if this thing is black and caked, you'll have to do one of 2 things to get it off. You either have a torch, you can take a lighter, or you can take a Bic lighter And then you take a pair of pliers like this, and I've already did this because you can see how black it is. Then you take a pair of pliers like this, grab a hold of it, have your lighter lit. You could use a Zippo for this, and I recommend you use a Zippo for this because it stays lit constantly. And you just run the spark arrestor screen over the lighter like this until it's kind of glowing. You don't want to get it too hot. You don't want to turn it into ash. Some people like using torches. I like using a lighter because it's not so brutal to the little mesh screen. If you think you got a little bit of it burnt off, you take this here brush and then you brush it off. You brush it off with a wire brush, sort of like this brass brush. You want to use a brass brush because you don't really want to use a steel brush. It's too abrasive. You just keep doing it until you get all the black carbon off of it and it kind of looks brassy looking. And that means you got it pretty much cleaned. And then you stick it back on the machine, right back on here, screw it back in, put your plastic cover, heat cover back on. Once you're done doing that, guys, that should clean, that should fix your issues with your boggy Echo type of string trimmers, Shindawas, Husqvarna, and also this will also work with your steel string trimmers as well as even your cheap home lights. Sometimes have these little screens and they do get gunked up from time to time. But if you don't live in one of those communistic states, you can remove the screen permanently and use it as is. I don't recommend it, but in some states it might be illegal to do, but in my state it's not so illegal to do, to remove the spark arrestor. And what that does is it will actually give you better airflow coming out. It doesn't restrict the airflow coming out and it doesn't get bogged down anymore. So that should fix most y'all's problems. If you have a boggy string trimmer, is cleaning off the spark arrestor screen or removing it entirely, or it could be an air filter issue, or it could be a spark plug issue with the air filter. They usually sell a kit at your Echo dealers, your steel dealers, for a basic for an air filter, fuel filter, whatever you want to call it, and a spark plug. It's another story now if your carburetor screwed up. You're gonna either have to replace it or clean it, or have somebody static electric clean it for you guys. But that's all I got time for this video, guys. If you have that many issues with your new Echo string trimmer, your Husqvarna string trimmers, you've been using it only for about a year and it's bogging down, that's how you fix your string trimmers, guys. Done this many times and now my string trimmer is working fine. Later, guys. It's been your old pal Hondo.